Hi there, how are you? Greetings, salutations. My name is Jake Query. That is Derek Schultz. Yes, in fact, it is a Wednesday, which means that we are delayed by a day. But what that means, Derek, is that unlike the Pacers in game number 5, we still arrived and we still showed up and we're here, right?
We're here, and we're going to put in a very good effort, also unlike the Pacers. But May 1st, I'm still – nothing will zap my excitement. It is the 1st of May. I hung the flag. Nothing can stop smiles for me on May 1st.
Listen, I'm joking about the Pacers. I'm going to be optimistic here, okay, about what happened in Milwaukee. I don't even know how much we need to break down Game 4, if you will, or Game 5.
Yeah,
right?
Game 5 now, yep.
That always throws me off. But disappointing for certain. What are you doing?
Yeah, your mic is like on your forehead.
Well, they come in here and they looked up and you're like, yeah, it looks good. And then I start that way.
I'm looking up at the screen here and it's like, hello, welcome to Query and Schultz. Greetings, salutations.
Do you realize how profane what you just did is?
Oh, like it's phallic or something? No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying like it looks. One of us is still a professional full-time broadcaster, and it's crazy to me how like you don't know how to like position a mic or remember like when we get in, where are my headphones? And like I'd have to adjust the volumes for you and stuff. Like it's baby stuff. It's like kindergarten, 101 broadcasting.
I have one skill set. Here. And that's questionable.
You just show up and you talk, and you really just don't do anything else.
Do you envy at all that ability? Or do you marvel over it?
I envy that you've gotten away with it for all these years. I'm jealous of that.
You're right.
I marvel at your ego. No, but we fixed the mics and we're good.
No,
And the important thing to tell viewers is that we are in a good mood. Pacers got absolutely lambasted, shellacked, housed,
2 more chances.
Stomped. And it was, and we'll dive into all of that. But it is May 1st in Indianapolis, and that, my friend, makes it a good day and a good show.
It is. Look, it's the best time of year, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because the weather's broken. I said yesterday, it reminds me of that time of year in school where, like, the teachers started opening the windows up and you could hear, like, the lawnmower off in the horizon.
Way off in the distance.
And just you're like, oh, my gosh, like, summer is about here. But, yes, it's obviously, when it comes to the month of May, I mean, this is the best calendar, right? You've got the Mini coming up on Saturday, followed by the Sancio Grand Prix a week after that, and then you get into the Oval and practice, and before you know it, we're out there, and they're bringing milkshakes in for the Dairy Association, and people are walking around to watch practice, and Fast Friday, and qualifying, and then the race. It's the best.
And if the Pacers advance, which they're still favored to do, where we sit today, we will have some Pacers and racers for the first time in this town in 10 years.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
Not necessarily with race day, but track activity.
Our friend Taylor Tannenbaum, right?
Yeah.
Love Taylor. She sent a thing saying the Pacers and racers, we will have Pacers and racers for the first time in 10 years. And I'm like, let's be careful here, because here's my question. Is it Pacers and racers if it's not yet 500?
Yes. Pacers and racers to me is Pacers and track activity. I mean, I remember being out there for a second-round series that they lost on Fast Friday, and they had Game 6, I think, on Fast Friday. And to me, I understand some people look at it as Pacers and racers is going over race weekend. There are also Pacers playoff games, right? So I guess the term is subjective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But that's how I view Pacers and racers.
Derek, reality is this. Disappointment in game number 5. I mean, there's no doubt about that, up in Milwaukee. And they got up to a good start. But I'll tell you the 2 things that were my observations, and this is very elementary. Number 1, I just thought Tyrese Halliburton looked off. I think for Indiana to get knockout punches, they need Halliburton doing Halliburton things. And there has been part of me that's wondered if what we saw right before the All-Star game and that we fell in love with, if that wasn't somewhat of still a blooming anomaly, and that what we saw last night, just kind of the ups and downs, is more realistic as to who he is. But the Pacers right now cannot, when you get to this point in the playoffs, you win by having your stars be your stars, not being facilitated.
Sorry.
You want to turn the phone off?
Yeah, sorry.
How long have we been doing this?
Sorry.
I marvel over this. But that's number 1. I just thought Halliburton was off, and they cannot afford – they have played very well, but they are still not a great enough team that they can have off nights of their stars, right?
Yeah.
And number two, there are nights, speaking of stars, and I know everybody's like, oh, Pacers are struggling against a team that doesn't even have their two best players. Look, the Pacers have been good against Milwaukee all year. That was a game in Game 5, and I know that this is like oversimplifying it, but sometimes you just say to yourself, everything went the other team's way. They
that's
hit
fair.
shots, the ball bounced their way, the momentum got, and then all of a sudden, and I know you're not a big believer in momentum, but like the vibe in the building, you could just feel it. You could feel it coming on, and once that lead got to like 7 and then 15, you're like, yeah, this doesn't look good.
And the Bucks have pride, They do.
You got to give them that, right?
Brook Lopez doesn't want to go down without swinging. He's 6 years old. Chris Middleton has pride. They don't want to get quietly eliminated at home.
What does the Patrick Beverly thing mean?
Too small. Can't guard me. He's too small.
The other person can't guard me?
Yeah, too small.
But he's smaller than everybody.
Pretty much. Pat Bev was plus 36. I'm not a big plus-minus guy, but plus 36, that's pretty incredible. When you're on the floor, your team's 36 points better. Pacers outscored 92-61 after the first quarter. There were just a lot of things that went wrong.
Who was he doing that about?
I think he was doing it about Nembhard. But let's talk about – let's start with Halliburton. The Pacers couldn't win this series with Halliburton playing like this. They're not going to go anywhere else with him playing like this.
That's fair.
15, 16 points. Look, I know he hit the game winner in Game 3. Tyrese Halliburton has been this series. He's been meh. And it's frustrating when you look around and you see what Tyrese Maxey is doing or what Anthony Edwards is doing or what Jalen Brunson is doing, and you want your guy to do that.
Right.
That's what Halliburton's supposed to be. And I understand that he's a facilitator and all of that too, right?
Derek, are we seeing, though, a guy that has learned that actually that guy is Siakam?
It shouldn't be.
Understood, but are we seeing a guy that says, you know what, that guy is Siakam?
I think we're just seeing somebody that post-injury hasn't been the same player. And maybe the back bothered him last night as well. I'm not sure, but it's not been good enough. He's not been good enough. And the Pacers are actually very fortunate to be leading this series with as mediocre, really overall, as Tyrese Halliburton has been. But I don't want to lay it all on him. I thought the starters were awful last night. I thought Rick Carlisle didn't put in a good performance last night. There's not a lot of reason to me for Isaiah Jackson to ever see the floor in this series. If you're going to play McDermott, it's got to be against zone. If he's doing anything else, then forget it. He's a liability on the floor. And you know who else has been awful this series, who's had a really good season and really kind of helped keep the Pacers afloat late in the year? TJ McConnell's been terrible.
He has had a rough
postseason. He is not. He was bad last night. It's so funny. Like we're talking about the Pacers like they're down 3-2
right,
or in a big hole, and they're not. They're still in control of this series. But Game 1 and Game 5, man, just two listless performances. It's almost like you punted both of those games, and it's a 7-game series.
I think the thing, Derek, that what we saw last night and what we will now see moving forward. At the beginning of the year and at the beginning of last year, what did we say about this team? And I'm sorry to keep going back to like pulling the goalpost back, but the objective for Indiana this year was it's a growing process of building a team. And you wanted them to get into the playoffs to get playoff experience and see how the intensity rises. And now, hey, now let's win a playoff game. Let's see what they are learning is what it takes to win a playoff series. And what it takes to win a playoff series is the toughest blow to land is the knockout. And you are seeing a team in Milwaukee that is experienced, that was unflappable in that situation with their back against the wall and said, we still have a message to send here. Now the question becomes, does Indiana's youth have enough maturity to rally around and say, okay, now our back's against the wall a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and end this.
And credit Doc Rivers, too. He was switching everything last night. They had some defensive wrinkles that were different that I think that threw the Pacers off. But, if we're talking, and I know we've been hitting this theme about, well, the Pacers are ahead of the game. Jake, they got to win this series. They got a gift from the basketball gods. How often do the sports gods smile upon teams in Indianapolis? It very rarely happens, right? And the Pacers don't have to apologize for this, but let's face it, not getting Giannis at all this series and then Damian Lillard going down is a gift. This Bucks team, without those two, over the course of an 82-game season, is a 38-win team,
I was gonna say
40-win team.
Yeah, that's
probably somewhere around there. I mean, they're the 8th seed. They're probably in the play-in round. You have to win this series. The season itself, like let's say hypothetically, and God, I hope this doesn't happen, the Pacers lose this series in 7 games. The season itself, to me, can't be like regarded as a failure or something like that, right? The Pacers did a lot of good things this year, but it would turn into a disappointment because of the context of how this series is played out.
Let me tell you what's going to happen.
They're going to win Game 6 by 15.
It's coming to me. Hold on. The pictures, it's forming. People can't see if they're listening to the podcast, but I'm rubbing my temples because there it is. I just got a clear image.
Okay.
The Pacers are going to have a Game 6 in Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Thursday. 6:30, I believe we now know, right?
Oh, good. It's not 9:30?
No, because Philly beat New York. And so the Pacers are going to come in, and the crowd's going to be and it's going to be one of those games where they lead by 2-5 the whole game, and you're super excited, and the roof's about to blow off Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and then down the stretch, a couple of plays are made, and oh my gosh, Nimhard just went down the middle of the lane, and he got stripped, and Milwaukee came down and scored. Oh my gosh, we've got to go back for Game 7. And it's 1995, Indiana, New York. It's 1994, Indiana, New York, where Vern Fleming misses the layup that would have sealed it. And they have to go back in game number 7 in Milwaukee. Giannis comes back. Oh, my goodness. Giannis is there for heroic measure. I love Giannis. Fun personality, great player. And the game is hanging in the balance. And the Bucks are down by a bucket with a timeout. And Giannis drives the lane and the C's part. And everybody's thinking, I can't believe it. And then, dunk, 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 dunk. And it's Patrick Ewing rimming it out. And the dreams of Milwaukee go away. And Tyrese Halliburton goes to the middle of the floor and crouches down. And hallelujah, the Pacers win Game 7. That's what's going to happen.
That's really in-depth.
It's going to be your New York Knicks choke all over again. But this time it's the Bucks in Milwaukee. And Indiana escapes in 7 games and goes to New York.
Wow. Yeah. What I was thinking is Pacers are actually a tie game. Or no, actually they're down 2. They're down 2 late in the game. And on the wing goes over to Neesmith and touch foul from Pat Bev, who switches over to him. 4-point play. Bang. Pacers crowd goes crazy. Pacers end up winning the series. But
okay,
we can go with either of those. It's important to say, this idea, and you know how I am about momentum and things like that. Okay, in game I can kind of buy. Every game is its own entity. Game 1 and Game 2 were completely different. There's no momentum. There's no carryover from Game 1 to Game 2. There was no momentum. There was no carryover from Game 4 to Game 5. And there's no reason to believe there will be anything carried over from last night's performance to Thursday night's performance. Every game is its own entity. I don't think that we're going to see Damian Lillard for the rest of this series. It sure doesn't sound like he's going to come back. And I would handicap the Giannis coming back thing at like 30-70. It looks very slim that you're going to see either of them. But still, last night, Jake, the Bucks were on the ropes. And you have that first quarter, and you come out strong, and it's right there. And
so the
Pacers completely
the
let
Milwaukee
it get away.
fans started chanting Bucks in 7 at the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
So if Indiana is able to win Game 6 Thursday night and they're leading it handily with a minute to go, the crowd has to start chanting Bucks in 7, right?
Can do that, yeah. But if you make it about them, does it become like a thing? Would you rather just focus on you? I guess you're taunting them.
Yeah, you taunt them.
But I don't know.
By the way, it is the month of May, as Derek had mentioned, and we will talk more about the Pacers and the Bucks. But it just got me thinking about May, Derek. And when I think about May, I think about milk.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
And the American Dairy Association of Indiana, winners drink milk. Because this is the month when you start thinking about milk and you start thinking about May and it marries together. And keep in mind, when you're working out, you're getting set for the mini. What better thing to drink and enjoy to refresh yourself after a good workout than chocolate milk? With as much vitamin A, Derek, as
a hard-boiled egg.
No, 2 cups of spinach. As much protein as
2 cups of spinach,
a hard-boiled egg, and as much potassium as
an orange,
a banana. That's what you get, that and more.
I was saying
the electrolytes, all of it from chocolate milk, which is an outstanding, I'm trying to move this, there we go. Outstanding post-workout beverage. And, of course, it is the greatest tradition of all of sports, which will cap the month of May, the winner drinking milk for the Indianapolis 500-mile race. They get their choice between whole 2% and skim milk, by the way.
Tough choice here because tough to bring this up after a Game 5 where he didn't necessarily play well and nobody really played well. But my winner of the week, because of what he's done in the series to this point, is Miles Turner.
No doubt.
Postseason career highs, 29 in Game 3, and then he matches it with 29 more in Game 4. He's been waiting to get back on this stage, right? And he's been through it, man. He's been through it watching what's happened to the team in his career. He's been through it watching how he's been inserted into trade rumors and the relationship with the fans that has been very roller coastery over the 9 years. And I was just so happy for him to get his name chanted in that building. Can you imagine what that would have meant to him?
Right.
What a cool thing. And then he hits the shot. Good for Miles Turner. I think he's really cementing himself as an all-time memorable pacer and maybe even a fan favorite. And now I know that relationship has been rocky, but I think fans are coming around to appreciating him more.
Part of the knock for Miles Turner, part of the challenge for Miles Turner, at no fault of his, Miles Turner was drafted into this franchise right during the time of the Paul George defection.
Yeah.
And so people naturally were like, well, that's okay.
We got Turner.
We're just going to shift it, and he's the new face
He's
of the
19,
franchise.
He's 19, 20 years old.
And I think at that point, they knew that what Miles Turner was a really important piece of a bigger puzzle that we're going to have pieces around him. And that disappointed people because they're like, no, he's supposed to be the guy. Well, he was never intended by the franchise's standpoint of being that guy, just a very important piece. And I think people are realizing that now and realizing that he does do some things that are very special.
Yeah.
And he's also a great guy in the community and an ambassador for the franchise. But, yes, Miles Turner, I'm all about that, right? Winners drink milk. Winner of the week goes to Miles Turner. And we shall see if he can lift the Pacers in Game 6 or be part of the group that lifts them past and back to see maybe New York. But we shall see.
See if
this chocolate milk is fabulous.
Laiatu Latu will lift the Colts because we're going to talk NFL draft when we come back. More NBA to come as well. Hoagie and Hero of the Week.
I have a photo for you, by the way.
And more. I don't think I want to see it.
No, it's beautiful.
If it's what I think it is, I don't want to see it.
No. It's nothing you're aware of. Fabulous photo for you.
Pretty sure I know.
I know. We have a photo for Derek that he is going to love. He'll love it as much as that naked picture of him in the shower.
Every time, it's half nude. Every time you say I'm going to love something, I end up.
No, you'll love it. I promise.
Very
you
much
that.
not
No.
loving it.
I promise.
Hopefully you love this show.
As much as I love chocolate milk.
And you're going to stick around on a Wednesday. It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Please stay.
Tonight.
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey & Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Muchas gracias to our amigos at Bailey & Wood Financial Group, proud presenting sponsors of Corey and Schultz alongside Jake. Derek, 855-350-HOME for our friends at Bailey & Wood Financial Group, BAWFG.com. You're looking to get pre-approved for your mortgage. Housing market has remained hot, I think, because inventory is so low.
Right.
So, they actually just completely renovated the house next door to my house, and price-wise, it just seems crazy. And I asked a realtor friend of ours. Her kid goes to school with our kid. We were like, hey, is there any way that this house is going to sell for this price? And she's like, oh yeah, because people just aren't selling. There aren't a lot of homes available. So if you want to get into Midtown, which is a very exclusive neighborhood, very, very difficult. Price point's high.
What are you Poppy with Tuscany?
What?
You're like, are you looking to get into Midtown? Don't bother. There's nothing available.
Oh, no, you could be my next door neighbor if you want to. Now, you got to pay a premium, but you get the best neighbor in the world.
Who lives on the other side?
Other side of him is Tim and Carly, an old retired couple.
They do.
They're great, too. I love Tim and Carly. Yeah. But you get the best neighbor in the world.
Do you think they like that you just referred to them as the older couple?
Only thing that happens for me that you have to be aware of is that when I pull in and pull out the trash can, this is really all year long, in my undies. And slides, flip-flops. So I'm sometimes in my undies.
You know what,
in the neighborhood.
Let me tell you.
There we go. Kind of like that, but just undies and then flip-flops on the feet. There we go. So if you want to be neighbors with that.
Let me show you what, it is not where I live, but where Shannon lives. You've been to Shannon's house, right?
Yeah.
She's got
North side.
5 acres behind her, right? And the other day, and the dogs, Joe and Kobe, we can get rid of the picture behind me at any point. And she's walking the dogs the other day, and, you know, I know that you like a big spacious yard like that, right? And I thought to myself, we need to have Derek over, just maybe bring James to play in the yard because it's a big, beautiful yard like that. And then I saw the new neighbor that has moved in next door. Also a wonderful neighbor. I think we have a photo here. This photo actually from Shannon, that is an actual photo
absolutely
from Shannon's backyard.
Nope.
Tell me that is not amazing.
Yeah, no, it is not amazing. It is not. It is
that
a no.
is wonderful. That is a
that
juvenile
is a no to me.
Horned ring, I believe it's called owl.
Yeah.
That is learning to fly and is perched on her fence in the backyard.
Demon Hellbird.
No, that is a beauty of nature right there. Look at the colors.
No.
Absolutely amazing. Look at the eyes.
No.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely
and if you get close, it clicks its beak to warn you.
Yeah, to warn you that it's going to take its talons and put them through your brainstem.
Right. Well.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I did see I actually saw that photo on her Instagram, and it physically took me aback.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, because Shannon usually posts. She's got this little dog Joey, and it's like real cute. And it's like, oh, like
Shannon
or she's at Pacers games.
Shannon was worried that the owl was hurt,
and then it's Demon Hellbird.
She called a rescue group to come out and make sure the owl was okay, and they determined that the owl is okay.
No, you don't need to call You got to call IFD, IMPD, National Guard. If that's in my yard, I'm not calling a rescue group unless they're rescuing me. And then I'll call a rescue group. Come save me.
You are the biggest wuss on the planet.
Awful.
Beautiful. Nature's beautiful, so thank you.
Let's talk Colts drafts. And I know you're psyched about this because you've talked about it for like 3 straight months. Laiatu Latu is the pick. It's going to be fun to say his name, isn't it? First defensive player taken off the board, as you guys know. Super productive at UCLA. Had the brief medical retirement with the neck. Left Washington. Got checked by another doctor. They're like, hey, we think you can play. Goes to UCLA. Has 2 incredible years.
Yep.
Back-to-back. One of the best players, defensive players in all of college football the past 2 seasons. And I think a little bit different, and it's weird to say this, and I'm not trying to defend Chris Ballard here, but I do think that there is something to evolving a little bit in especially in Ballard's case where the results haven't been that great. And this is a very small evolution, but I do think that in the past, he had bet big on just the traits, right? Ben Banigou, and who was a productive player at TCU, don't get me wrong. He had a lot of sacks and things like that. But Ben Banigou, they were betting on his traits, right? They're like, we're going to coach up the traits. And what ended up happening? Ben Banigou was barely an NFL player, right? He's out of the league completely now. Kamoko Toure. There was some health concerns there, but they bet on the traits, right? Kwity Paye was not that productive, but he was good at Michigan. He was not like an all-American consensus, like Latu is. They were betting on traits. And I think in this case, not that Latu's not a great athlete, he is, but I think they wanted more of a turnkey, ready-made, okay, this guy can play for us right away. And yes, there'll be growth and there'll be a learning curve and all of that, but Latu is supposed to factor in, like, I'm expecting him to come in and be productive immediately.
Derek, I'm going to give one of my bad analogies, okay?
Okay. We give a lot of bad analogies on the show. Me too.
Let's say, for the sake of argument, that you are somebody who has always wanted, like, AirPods.
Yeah, I love AirPods.
So, AirPods are not inexpensive. You want the Beats-type AirPods.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
And you've hem-hawed around, and you found a pretty decent pair at Best Buy that were $39.99, and they're kind of a knockoff, but they were okay. They were sufficient.
Yeah.
But, sometimes when you start the lawnmower, they're not as strong as you'd like, and you're like, yeah, but I can get by on them. Then you get on an airplane, and you're like, they last. The battery's not as long as I like, but I can hear, right? And you still kind of think to yourself, like, boy, those Beats, those things are nice, though. But they're awfully expensive. So you just kind of carry on, and you decide that buying a new pair of the $39.99 ones every 4 or 5 years is sufficient for you, as opposed to finally investing $300 in a pair of AirPods. Then one day, you go walking in because you're like, you know what? I know for a fact I need a new kitchen table. I need a new kitchen table. So you go into the store to get a kitchen table, and as soon as you walk in to get the kitchen table and you've got your money for a kitchen table, lo and behold, boom.
Beats.
Right there before you are Beats, and they are 60% off.
Yeah.
And you're like, gosh, you know what? Like, I don't need those, but I've been kind of pining for them forever, and this is an offer I can't refuse. You know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to get rid of all the, like, little imposter ones, and I'm just going to hunker down and buy these because I never thought this value would be right before my very eyes. The Colts for years have tried to go with the re-rent every 4 years headphones in terms of their pass rush. And they did not think. They went into the store thinking they were going to get a wide receiver or a tight end or a corner in no particular order there. And they went in, and then all of a sudden, guess what was before them when they opened the door of the NFL draft, sitting right there before them at a special that was like, wait a minute, we never thought that was going to be available. The answer at pass rush. And they had to go with it.
Yeah.
I applaud.
It's defensible, right? I understand people are frustrated about cornerback and all that other stuff.
I mean, it feels
it's
because it feels repetitive because it was a need because they have never addressed it before, or they've tried to address it with discount items, right? And this was one where they literally had their pick of the defensive draft. Yeah. They had their pick of who was there, and they said, you know what, let's go with it. And
the board couldn't have fallen better for them.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I do think that I go back to this. It comes down to this situation. If you're looking at pass rush right there that was available, and by the way, those UCLA uniforms are awesome.
Oh, they're just amazing.
If you're looking at pass rush scheme that's available where they took it at 15, and he scores as, say, a 9.8, and then the next pass rush guy, if that was something where you wanted depth, then they knew that in round 2 you'd drop down to a 7.5. Or they could have gone with a wide receiver or a tight end there that was a 9.8, but that position in round 2 was available that was a 9.2. So less drop-off.
More depth, yeah.
Correct. So you take that situation first, and then you go and you get receiver, which they did later. You get depth at offensive line. Offensive line, defensive backs always say, sunglasses, cell phone chargers, can't have too many. Mm. The draft is impossible to assess in immediacy in terms of what kind of players they got. But rather in terms of the areas that they took care of, I like what they did.
Ooh. So you like Ballard too?
No.
Chris Ballard fans right here, unite.
I'll be Chris Ballard.
CB.
Listen,
here we go.
Listen. I mean, I think he's arrogant. And I think at 54-60-1, he probably needs to start putting up some results. But I like what he did in the draft. It's one step, but I want to again say that for Chris Ballard, his biggest contribution that he's done, and I greatly appreciate it, is he has made it aware to me that over the age of 50, the flat brim hat thing is done.
Yeah, clearly. Kwity Paye is a good player. I think he has the potential to be even a very good player, but he's not an elite player, and it probably never
He's
will
a very
be.
serviceable player, no doubt.
Dio Odengbo is a good player who I still think has a higher ceiling, but we haven't seen it yet. Ebukam, Taekwon Lewis, some of those other guys, they're good players, but they don't have a guy. And you need to have a game wrecker, and I hope that Latu can be that guy. A.D. Mitchell falls more in line with the Colts picks of the past, right, where you're really just betting on traits. There was very little production for A.D. Mitchell. He had 3 games over 80 yards his entire college career. People are freaking out about it, but if he's so good and such a weapon, why was he the 11th player taken at his position? I don't get me wrong. I think A.D. Mitchell has the potential to be a good pro. Sure, you can find great receivers in the second round, but God, people doing backflips over this guy, the same people that are doing backflips over Paris Campbell, who was a nobody.
Do you know who, I heard this earlier this morning, admittedly, from Kevin and Andy. Do you know who took more snaps at wide receiver last year than any player in the National Football League?
Yeah.
Alec Pierce.
Yeah, he plays for the Colts.
I guess they just kept running him out there. If you just keep running out there, eventually, we'll get a quarterback that can throw
eventually,
the ball.
somebody could throw you the ball, which never ended up happening. But yeah, maybe. I still don't think this means that they've given up on Alec Pierce. But I think you just keep drafting because I think you should take a receiver every year. Honestly.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think you should
in
take a
today's
receiver
NFL, that's fair.
Every year. And with the offensive line depth, getting a swing tackle and getting guys with position versatility, they love those guys. It makes sense to me. Bordellini could be the Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly's entering a contract year.
I think that's
right?
the trend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then, people complaining about the defensive secondary, the Colts don't need more youth there. They need a veteran. And I would really, Jake, I would be flabbergasted if they didn't sign a veteran safety or corner. I really would. I'd be shocked. Now, other people around the team who know more than me say that they wouldn't be shocked if they just rolled in, but this is a lot to risk. And we talk about Ballard. One of Ballard's big problems is that he's had a blind spot at a position group seemingly every year.
Correct.
It was wide receiver, it was pass rush, and last year it was corner, and this year it looks
there are
like
times
it might
where
be corner
it's almost like he refuses to address something that people are harping on him to address because then that's giving in.
And that position group got cooked in all of those years, and they said coming in, banging the table, we're fine, we like our guys, and those groups got cooked. And, I mean, really, they're one injury away from the house of cards toppling over at corner. I mean, it happened last year. Dallas Flowers got hurt, and then, all hell broke loose.
I do like Juju Brents.
We'll see.
I think he's athletic. I think he's big. He's long.
We'll see. It's a lot of Juju Brents doesn't qualify.
I'm going to take a sip of beer.
There are a lot of low-level draft picks in UDFAs who they're relying on. Let's get to our Hoagie and Hero of the Week while we are on the topic of the NFL draft. You want to lead with our beer?
That is wonderful.
Now, they have their
That's
500
really good.
track beer, which is really good. But and I'm sure will come out later this month. But Built to Last, a German Pilsner, this is a great track beer.
It is. It is very good.
It's just clean. It's crisp. It's got a
Good way of saying
It's got a bite, I think, to it. It's got a nice bite to it. I really like the Built to Last and all of our friends at
I'm
Chili
surprised
Water.
that you didn't mention something about the Built to Last because it's a German,
Oh, German.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't mention something
Und?
about it, being about like you. Got a bite.
What do you
small
mean?
and- well, I mean,
Do you think that about me?
you got that overbite.
Do you think that about me?
No.
That's what you think?
No, what I think is that when you try to flex your muscles, you do an overbite.
No, I don't.
And when you dance, yeah, see like that. You look ridiculous. You look ridiculous. That you look like that. It looks absurd. But what is not absurd is the Built to Last German Pilsner from Chili Water. And Derek is right. Has a very smooth. You can definitely taste a little of that hop in it, but very, very smooth.
42nd and Boulevard for our friends at Chili Water Tap Room. Also, we got our Hoagie of the Week. This is the brotherly love, just like us, two brothers from another mother that love each other. So you got a little turkey, a little ham, little salami. So you got 3 meats on this bad boy, and I'm busting out of the bread right now. Also, Prove, LTOO.
Lettuce, tomato, oil, and onion.
Oh, yeah. Now, the hog is my usual go-to. Hog. But
Will you hold on?
the hog is a lot. The hog is a lot. Like, the hog, it's, I I don't know if heavy is the right word. It's a lot. Brotherly love is just a nice, more basic kind of version. Now it's not a straight Italian.
That turkey is fabulous.
Yeah, it's and she chops it up. It's not a straight Italian, but there's just like a little less going on. Like this is like a no frills, good to its core Sando. This is the Toyota Camry on her menu.
Oh, like,
it's a good solid
like
sandwich.
Buddy Lazier's 500 entry. That was a Tercel, right?
That's the lesser version.
Derek.
Catering as well.
Don't-
HoagiesandHops.com.
We had a meeting the other day at the radio station. They
If
said
we're
the
having
number
a
one
race
thing people
party.
hate is hearing people talk on the air with their
If
mouth.
you're having a race party, patio party, whatever, HoagiesandHops.com, Cam, Cater, HoagiesandHops.com.
Are you going there after the mini?
If you check them out. I don't know where we're going to go. The last time we met Matthew was at Hoagies and Hops. We might do Hoagies and Hops again, but it'll depend because he's actually doing the
Yeah.
I want to go meet him because they're going to be exhausted after the race. Hero of the week. What a night for Michael Penix, right? And I understand that a lot of the attention was negative attention on what the Falcons were doing, but think about Penix. What 3-star recruit right out of Florida, who Indiana bet big on. He rose IU's program to new heights of relevancy, even if they were short-lived. Some amazing, incredible moments during his time in Bloomington. Tore his ACL twice. He looked broken when he was leaving. He looked broken. I was like, I don't think he can play anymore. He goes to Washington, follows his former OC in Kalen DeBoer, and has an incredible season, takes them to the playoff and the national championship game, Heisman room, the whole deal, and becomes an NFL top 10 draft pick. I mean, say what you want about the Falcons' rationale and the management and who Penix is as a pro. I don't know what he's going to be as a pro player, and he's not exactly entering the most competent organization, but what a story, man. Good for him. Good for him for getting that, and a big night for him.
He was the third quarterback taken, is that right? Or was he the fourth?
May, Daniels, and Caleb, and then Penix, and then Bo Nix. Oh, no, and then JJ, and then Bo Nix.
Okay, yeah, okay.
JJ McCarthy went 10, right? Yeah. Bo Nix, man. God, I get it. If you need a quarterback, you got to go get him. But, God, Penix, too. I mean, Penix is as number 8 with all the players that were on the board there. You're going to go him number 8. If you need your quarterback, you need him. But
Atlanta's got Kirk Cousins,
I
right?
know. Well, that's the thing. So, why panic? And I don't really understand the rationale. I think there's a very good chance that none of these quarterbacks end up being great NFL players. I think this quarterback class is very okay.
Here are my 2 draft questions. Mm-hmm. The first is, and I get it. I mean, listen, I'm not disparaging anything about any of these young men, right? But was there some sort of an edict that they all had to wear sunglasses? Honestly, was there a fashion concerted movement for that?
They've started doing the outside red carpet and all of that, and they arrive early.
I understand, but
and the sun's coming down.
But I think it was Penix was in his. Who was in their house? And they were wearing sunglasses.
Oh, really? I don't know. I think it looks good. I'd wear sunglasses too.
And then secondly, why did every one of them? And I get this. I guess it's just a moment of exultation. But as soon as they stepped on the stage now, instead of walking across and shaking hands beforehand, they all had to stop and start yelling out and you know what I mean, like they were angry.
They're kind of given their moment now. It's not just walk across the stage. It's I think Manziel doing the pay me or whatever. Fair. Everybody kind of does something.
That
or
worked out well for him.
Or they point or something. I don't know. I'm all for people having their moment. I think the whole thing has just gotten just so incredibly overblown. And
Derek, how proud are you of me?
The fact that people that aren't even full-time employees of any media company or anything are have 7-round mock draft boards, and they're he's my 121st prospect. And I'm like, guys, what are you doing in your free time?
Here's the easiest way to show this, Derek. I'm going to pull up for people. Give me a year of the last 10 years.
2019.
Huh?
2019.
2019.
Mm-hmm. God, it's a good finish.
Give me a round 2 through 5.
2.
Okay, round 2. And then give me a number 1 through 10.
I don't know, 9.
Okay, the ninth player taken in the second round.
Colts had Paris Campbell would have been up, or Banigou might have been up there.
The ninth player selected in the second round of 2019. Drew Lock.
Oh, boy. Is he...
Dalton Risner.
Is Drew Lock Seahawks?
I don't know where he is now. That might be right.
Yeah.
Greedy Williams. Ben Banigou was 49th overall.
A.J. Brown went like 3 picks after Ben Banigou.
Yeah.
I know that.
But my point being, like, people get so geeked out, and then I'm like, half of these people, like, the third round.
Guys are out of the league, right?
I mean, Ryan Finley.
Yeah, guys are out of the league.
You know, Kendall Sheffield. Okay. I mean, just guys, right?
I just think the coverage of it, and I understand people love the NFL, but the coverage of it is just, it's just way over
But
the
how
top.
proud are you of me? We're over 30 minutes in, and I have yet to comment on the fact that the NFL claims there were 775,000 people there.
Yeah, I was thinking it was more like 950,000. I think they were pushing a mill.
Can I at least take credit for this? Will you at least admit that there are now more people that are realizing the absurdity of those numbers?
I think they're taking everybody that's coming in for the entire weekend and labeling them as NFL draft people, and that's never, especially in a place like Nashville. Of
Derek,
course
I got
that's
an
not the
email
case.
I'm on the NFL media email list.
Yeah.
I got an email that was like, "Dear NFL media member, like, you helped
Thanks
make
for
history.
coming.
Thank you
Yeah.
for coming to the NFL draft." I'm like, I wasn't there.
I didn't go anywhere.
Did they count?
They counted
all
you.
80,000 people that are on the email list. Anyway,
counted you
I
5
digress.
times.
Yeah, that's right.
Counted you 5 times. Let's move on from football to football. Big news in Indianapolis last week with Joe Hockstett's surprise announcement about targeting an MLS team. We're going to talk about that. Plus, love that play, a little bit more into the NBA, and some quick hits before we exit stage left on this Wednesday. It feels weird that today's Wednesday, doesn't it? I don't think we've ever taped the show on a Wednesday.
Well, it's first for everything.
Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching, barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Bailey Wood presents Corey and Schultz. ISC Sports Network. He's Jake. I'm Derek.
I was just about to say, welcome back.
Then say it. You're waiting too long. Snooze, you lose.
No, I wasn't waiting too long. I waited for the camera to fade up, and then I was going to say, I'm in a broadcast, bro. I've done this for a long
You
time.
start talking once Vince brings us back, pretty much. You wait like 1 or 2 Mississippis and you start talking. That's how to be a broadcaster.
I was waiting in Mississippi, and you did a Missouri.
Well, we were just talking about Drew Lock.
That's true.
Joe Hockstedt held the news conference last Thursday. I kind of hate this, Jake, and we run into this sometimes. It's the problem with having a weekly show instead of a daily show. Sometimes stuff happens
Understood.
like Wednesday or Thursday, and by now it feels like it's kind of been gone through the news cycle. But this is, at the very least, is an ongoing story that they're trying to attract an MLS team to Indy. He met with Don Garber, who's the MLS commissioner, who also met with Senator Todd Young. Thought that was interesting. Saw the photo of those two the other day, eyeing some land on Pearl Street downtown. There's also still this 11 Park, which they still could potentially utilize. I mean, we don't know. They filed a resolution with the Metropolitan Development Commission to create this professional sports development area. And I know you hate these things, but they're these areas that capture tax revenues that feed into it to fund it. MLS is about to add a 30th team. That'll be San Diego, who paid reportedly $500 million.
Right.
They have teams in Cincinnati, Chicago, Columbus, St. Louis, and Nashville. Indy's pretty well surrounded for the most part. But Indy is being talked about along with the usual suspects. Whenever you hear of sports expansion, you hear of Vegas, right? So Vegas is being talked about. Charlotte, Phoenix. I saw Louisville as one too, and I know they've had a successful USL team. It's a surprise because, and not to get all political here, but I do think that when you ask a lot of people, kind of how they see Joe Hogsett, I don't think they see him necessarily as this kind of bold, like, wow, he did that?
They don't see him at all.
Well, yeah, I was trying to be nice, but, right?
Right.
And this was a very, like...
It was not an aggressive... It was an aggressive move.
Yeah, this was very, like, holy crap. Like,
Right.
I can't believe that they're doing this. And I don't think... No one can make any guarantees. I just refuse to believe that he would put himself out here like this, or the state and city would put themselves out here like this without some inkling that this was a better than remote possibility.
Derek, I think it comes down to this, and I want to be very clear here because I've been pretty vociferous at times of my opposition of public dollars going into 11 Park in the Indy 11 as somebody who bought season tickets for the Indy 11.
Mm-hmm.
None of this is personal, okay? But my opinion, educated opinion, but my opinion of what happened is very simple. And that is that the Indy 11 that's owned by Ursel Ozdemir and the Keystone Construction Group is his main business, was all, the soccer part of it was kind of a conduit to get development and get obviously the funding and the resolutions for this Indy 11 Park, which has been a vision for a very long time. And I can applaud that, okay? I think there was hesitation from a lot of people about what the true intentions were, whether this was truly about a soccer for the city goal or a money for private business goal, okay? Either way, understood. I don't know which of those is factual, but I think that perception was there. But with each step along the way that the city was asked for further commitment and partnership with the Indy 11, each time that they took another step and started to more cement their relationship, but more so financially connect with one another, the city wanted and is entitled to knowing that there is even more assurance that this did have a long-term, bigger goal. And that bigger goal would be an MLS team or one that was of national spotlight that made it worth the city's time and investment. I believe that Joe Hogsett did work alongside the Indy 11 with that, but also at the same time being very open to the possibility that this was going to come to a dead end. And so in that capacity, the city, whether it was Joe Hogsett himself or the city then began talking to other people to basically assess the situation and got word from the MLS that the MLS would possibly consider Indianapolis as a viable market for them, but not if it was involved with Ursel Ozdemir or Keystone as the main investor. And in addition to that, I think Ursel Ozdemir and Keystone realized that they were getting into a financial situation where there were a lot of sharks in the tank, and in reality, they were still minnows or tunas. And it was a little bit, the current was moving faster than they could. That's no knock on anybody. I just think that's a reality. And I think the city then said, you know what? This looks like it could have a dead end in terms of the MLS shutting us out after this long financial investment. So we are going to see if there's another avenue. And once they saw that there was another avenue and an investment group that they could go with, that the MLS found to be more to the MLS's comfort level, while it wasn't a guarantee that that would mean an MLS team for Indianapolis, it did give the city its out to pull out of further involvement with the Indy 11 project and go with a group that has been brought to them that they feel is a more reliable one that has a better path towards MLS expansion. And so they retreated and they took their out clause.
And I wonder, too, how much of it was, look, we've got this development area, right, that we can put together, and we feel like we can get some more investors, so why not just go for it, right? Instead of settling on this with our existing team, why not just go for it? Let's go big.
If there is a group which it appears though I think the expansion fee is probably going to be $600 million, depending on the area of time in which they would be able to get it. I think there's an investment group that feels they might be able to get close to 80% of that, and then you would have to come up with probably the combination of private donors and some public subsidy to offset the remaining balance. But I do think that the city found an avenue that they felt had more reliability and more long-term future with the MLS's blessing than the one that they were currently with.
And I do feel bad. I mean, they have a very passionate fan base.
They do.
11 do, and now they're just kind of in flux, and there's a lot of uncertainty. And we've known a lot of people, including our buddy Greg, who's been associated with the team and the club for as long as they've existed. And it sucks. It sucks to not know, I think, what's going to happen. But I can understand the city's line of thinking. I think it could have been handled more tactfully.
Derek,
I understand the line of thinking.
I think the city, and this is really overstating it, probably, and maybe generalizing it a little too much. But I think the city basically said, like, look, we've been dating now for like 12 years. And we don't really feel like there's, like, is there a commitment here or not?
I don't know if they, I don't know if they ever felt like the 11 were going to be the team that were going to be.
Understood,
right?
But what I'm saying is I think the city essentially said, you've had more than enough time to show us that you are legitimately big boy serious. And we just don't feel it's there.
It makes sense.
Sucks. We'd like to see other people.
It's business. I've had to do that a couple of times where I've had to make business decisions, and it sucks. But when you're in a position of power and prominence,
I'd like to know a business decision.
You make business decisions.
The only business decision I know that you had to make, I had to talk you out of.
I don't talk business on the show. That was a great business decision that we decided as a team not to make. So thank you for your input there.
As a team?
Look, I was in a different headspace then, okay? You want me to say that you were right? You were right, okay? Even though the court just threw out one of the big hang-ups.
That's right.
For us with that.
No more non-competes,
We're not
baby.
going to get into that. Yeah, thank God, because that specific person with non-competes has really, I mean, you talk about abusing non-competes. That person specifically has used those to abuse employees, and it's a sad deal. Let's talk Love That Play, happier stuff. Love Heating and Cooling. Family owned and operated since 1920. That's a long time. That's 100-plus years, doing the math in my head. Love-HVAC.com. It's AC season. It's still kind of heat season. It's this weird kind of in-between where you're running both. If you need either service, give our friends Chris, John, and the rest of their great crew at Love Heating and Cooling a call.
They're the best.
353-2141. Man, Sixers-Knicks series has been wild. You had the Game 2 collapse by the Sixers where they're up. They were up 5 with 20 seconds left and lost. And then the Sixers came back from down 6 with 30 seconds left. Tyrese Maxey, who's just a star, right?
Yeah,
I mean, unbelievable. 4-point play, and then he hits the 3 from the logo to tie it. Philly staves off elimination. It was a fanatical finish, and to do it in front of a stunned. Did you see the picture of Jon Stewart just stunned?
Yeah. I mean,
it was crazy. It was
heroics
awesome
in the garden, baby. That's what you want. Heroics
it's
in
just,
the garden.
And look, I understand that I have biases. We all do, right? But it's the biggest stage. I
hear the organ.
The Knicks franchise itself does not deserve, I think, the love that it gets. But to me, the Garden deserves all of it.
I mean,
it's the biggest stage in the NBA. I really feel that way always. But that's our Love That Play, the Sixers Furious Rally, and it's a brand new series.
And it also, here's the best thing about that series, or that rally for Love That Play. You folks on Friday morning are going to feel more refreshed because Philadelphia won that game. That means that the Pacers-Bucks Game 6 will be a 6:30 tip instead of 8 o'clock tip.
Oh, okay.
It'd have been an 8 o'clock tip if they'd have been the only game.
More sleep for me. Good.
That's right.
We'll come back, Bite or Bobleep, and some quick hits. Very quick hits. It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
Hey, AC, which games are we going to tonight?
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Back for a final time on Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to take that one? You haven't taken any today. Oh, you're chewing. See, you can't even take it. Chateau Kitchens just attached the last door that was on back order, that was on our garbage, pull-out garbage. My father-in-law calls it the rubbish. In our basement. So the
when
basement
you're wearing your tidy
is,
whities in when you're walking around?
Yes. Yeah, I do. Actually, in my house, usually I'm in the nude. But when I go out and pull the garbage cans out and things like that, I'm usually in my undies. But in the house, I'm in the nude. Yeah. So maybe another reason, if you want to move in next door, you might catch a glimpse. You're not going to miss it. So it is not hard to see. Where were we? Chateau Kitchens. Before and after pictures at Chateau Kitchens.
Do you have
on
the
Instagram
photo
and
of what I
Facebook.
would look like if I saw Derek in the nude next door? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, there you go.
ChateauKitchens.com.
That'd be my reaction.
You'd swell up on me? No, you wouldn't want. If you saw me, you would not want to swell up on me. Chateau Kitchens does great work. They did amazing work in our basement as well. Here's what we do for Biter Bobley. I give a statement, Jake and I go back and forth with the Biter Bobley. Statement 1, none of the quarterbacks in the 2024 first-round NFL draft will lead their teams to the Super Bowl. Biter Bobley.
Boy, I'll buy that just based partially
on the
franchises.
percentages, right?
And the franchises.
Yeah. I saw a stat, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I think only 12 quarterbacks who were actually drafted by their team have led them to Super Bowl wins.
Right.
You know, Peyton Manning obviously being one of them. That's just not a very good hit rate, right? And I just think this class is But then again, remember, we went crazy over the 2020 class with like Fields and Lawrence and Zach Wilson, and that class is awful. That class is really
You don't like
aged
Lawrence?
poorly. No, I mean, Lawrence is clearly the best of that, but Mac Jones, I mean, that was a bad class.
Yeah.
That ended up being a bad
How about
class.
the one with Darnold and Josh Rosen and Baker? And,
But Lamar was in that class. And who are we missing out of that class?
Josh Allen was in there, wasn't he?
Josh Allen was in that class. Yeah, so that kind of saves it, right? Because you had two MVP-level quarterbacks
the last
out
two
of
that group taken, I think, right?
But the others were bad. I mean, the 99 class is what I think of. Cade McNown, Achilles Smith, Donovan McNabb was the only good one out of that group.
Actually,
Tim
Josh
Couch.
Allen went before Rosen because there's video of Bills fans like throwing stuff.
Yeah. Well, remember, people thought they were really reaching for Josh Allen, and he's turned into an outlier and a good player. Yeah, I'm going to buy it too. Just play for the percentages. LeBron James is going to hang on to play with Bronny and then retire. Buy it or Bobley?
I think you'd have to say you buy that, right? I don't know if it's to play with him. He can still play.
I haven't paid enough attention. He clearly wants to play with his son. I saw something that the Lakers are willing to offer him a 3-year extension, which seems mind-boggling to me that he would play 3 more years. But he's still playing at such a high level. I just worry that when the valley's going to come, It's going to come. You know,
I think it's fair.
If they draft him this year and he plays with Bronny next year, then I think he would consider retiring after that.
I would agree with that.
But as far as winning titles and stuff, I think all it's gone. His legacy, I think, is what it is. He'll own every record, and what he's done is what he's done, and the longevity's been crazy. Final one: IU will be a Sweet 16 team next year.
It's by their ceiling.
That's a great ceiling to have, considering where they
stay
were.
healthy,
right?
Yeah, I'll buy it.
It's a good roster.
Hang a banner for it.
It's a good roster. The pieces have to fit.
2024 portal champions.
Credit to Mike Woodson, but it's a very talented roster, and I think Luke Goody adds a lot. I really like him. He's a really nice player and fits a need for
About
them.
time they have a shooter. Yep.
Thank you to Chateau Kitchens, Bailey and Wood Financial Group, American Dairy Association Indiana, Hoagies and Hops, Chili Water Tap Room, Love Heating and Cooling.
American
For
Dairy
Jake,
Association of Indiana.
I said
Did you say
it.
that?
For me.
Did you say
for Vince,
Hoagie and Hops?
For Greg. for
Chateau
everybody
Kitchens,
involved.
Bailey and Wood.
Thank you for
Love
tuning
Heating and
into
Air.
a Wednesday show here on Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network, and we'll see you next time to talk about the conference semis.
On a Tuesday?
Probably.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Brewer jams it home.
That ball wiggles in and into the back of the net.
A little fireworks in the first half. Throw it up for Tillman. Whoa, my goodness. 122-6-0 for Penn.
What a swim! Six of them.
The drive, the take, fouled, and it goes!
Lobbing it to the back of the end zone. They're going to say it's a touchdown.
Left foot gets through. Goal for Vargas. Hamilton will score! Shot at the buzzer. Got it! She got it! Oh my goodness, what a shot! Hello! Did it again. Hello! Made the highlight reel again. That goes to Mentor and all kinds of room to run. Down the middle of the field, and he will not be touched. Jackson, hello! There we go.
Stokes throws it, caught, ball ricochets.
Wow.
A huge hit.
Wow.
This has been an amazing display of goal scoring.
McCulling in time. Oh, no! It's good.
This one is good.
There you go.
Wow, Dawson makes a great catch.
Spin, win, 3, bury it for Leland Walker.
Tie the game they do with the dunk by Malik Edmonds. What a play.
Oh, my goodness.
I feel a little momentum starting to fall Ellen's way.
That in the air. Wrestler!
Whoa!
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here. Brewer jams it home.
That ball wiggles in and into the back of the net.
A little fireworks in the first half. Throw it up for Tillman. Whoa, my goodness. 122-6-0 for Penn.
What a swim. Six of them.
The drive, the take, fouled, and it goes!
Lobbing it to the back of the end zone. They're going to say it's a touchdown.
Left foot gets through. Goal for Vargas. Hamilton will score! Shot at the buzzer. Got it! She got it! Oh my goodness, what a shot! Hello! Did it again. Hello! Made the highlight reel again. That goes to Mentor and all kinds.